What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Today is December 7th, 2017, and day 42 of my paper trading account. I'm going to link my previous video in the description below, so I highly recommend you guys check it out. If you go on that video, I kind of talked about my November losing on every Thursday streak. Every Thursday in November, I lost money, and then the rest of the days I made money, except this the 1st of November, the Wednesday. But it was just funny to me because for some reason on a Thursday I just couldn't be on the right side of any trade, and that's exactly what happened today. Today was a very tough day for me mentally. I overtraded. I took a lot of unnecessary trades, and then I took a bigger size positions as well, and that's what got me in trouble today. $240, that's with commissions. So I lost about 150 on commissions just because I was taking bigger size, and then I lost $90 just in net profit and loss. So net profit loss wise, I was cutting my losses quick, and then I let my winners kind of run, but because I was taking bigger size, and I was losing a lot more with like smaller, if I was cutting it, with 7 cent loss, I was still losing like $200 or something, and that was because I was taking a bigger size position. And then in order to make up for it, I kept taking bigger size position, because then if I get a 10-cent winner, I'm up $200 or $300, rather than if I was only taking 1,000 positions. So it's so much mental stuff that goes on behind trading. It's crazy, because if I was up, I would be just taking 1,000 share position, and locking in 10, 20 cents or 30 cents on that 1,000 share position, whereas when I'm down, I'm taking bigger position, just looking for scalps to get myself out of the hole. And what ends up happening is that I end up paying high fees, and that leads to bigger loss. Even if I managed to get my loss to only $50, I would have paid $100 just in fees. So that's what was going on today. So we'll go over my P&L here first. That $240 down. At one point I was down today about 600, and then I had this DPW win. So I was down on DPW, and then I had a good trade on it where I made some money back. So I locked in about $100 on that, and then I had this LMFA trade out of the halt at the end, my very last trade, which gave me some nice profits, and then I managed to climb out of that 600 hole just only to 240. And as you guys can see, my daily gross profit loss is only 90, and then my net is 240, and that's with the commission. So commissions obviously, and again, definitely highly recommend you guys watch my yesterday's video, because that's exactly what I talked about. I talked about how I've had days where I paid a lot in commission because I overtraded, and today was one of those days, and I just fell in that in that hole, and I just tried to climb out, and my mental capacity was running out, and I was making bad decisions. So my very first trade was CUR. CUR, it was off my watch list. I was watching it more for a daily setup. So if you go onto the daily here, as you guys can see, I was watching, we had this one big day with lots of volume, and then this pullback with low volume. So I was watching that. If I was looking for it to get over this 274 for me to jump in. Pre-market high was 232, and I kind of fell, got into the long trap, thinking that if it gets over this 232, I should quickly jump in, because then it could potentially go up to that 274 level. Better play would have been, hindsight, better trade would have definitely been me jumping in over that 274, because that's where real volume, that's where new buyers, and that's where a lot of other traders would have paid attention to. But basically, pre-market high was 232, just around here, and then I ended up jumping at 236. So I got top ticked on this, and that's always a bad thing, especially if you're going long and you get the top, and then and now everybody's just basically dumping it on you. So I got in at 236, and the reason I got it so high was because I wasn't fast enough. I saw it come up, and this candle just popped right over. I see it break 232, and I just, without even really considering anything else, I just pressed a hotkey to buy in, and I got filled at 236. So very stupid on my part. And then I decided to add to it because I bought it so high. I felt kind of scared, so I was like, okay, well, if I add and bring my average down to maybe like 232, 230. 231, 230, I could potentially, be in a better position if it goes back up to this high of day. And in order to do that, I added some at 230, another 1,000 shares, which brought my average to now 2,000. I did start in my day with a small position. It's just that when I averaged down, I added another 1,000. Now I have 2,000 shares with average of 233, and this stock is basically crashing on me. So I ended up basically selling this at 220. Where did I get out? Let's see, 221. So from 233 to 221, lost about 12 cents on that. Of it, 2,000 shares, right? So that's I was down 240 right off the bat. I was down 240 plus my commission, so like 260 something. And so that's not the best way to start the day, especially with trading, and especially with me coming into the mine, knowing that today's Thursday, knowing that last 5 Thursdays I have lost. I really wanted to be careful, and I just in order to prove myself, in order to get the upper hand, I decided to jump in a trade right away yesterday. Again, I'm saying it for the third time, guys. Highly recommend yesterday's video. Link is in the description. Check it out. I talked about me only taking one trade and not trying to get into market as soon as the market's open. Let it kind of breathe, let things set up, and then wait for the right opportunity. Today, for some reason, just because I was trying to build cushion on my day, because I knew it was Thursday, I needed to do something quick. I needed to make a quick green trade just so I can be on the safe side. I decided to jump in this, and boom, I ended up losing 260. And so mentally, that was obviously hard, because I was like, oh man, another Tuesday, I'm down 260. But I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to finish, my day red. I'm going to keep trading until I get out of this 250 hole. It didn't seem large enough, so I was like, it's possible if, one stock starts moving, I get it on the right momentum stock, I could make this back. And because of trying to make that back on one trade, I decided to take big sizes on my remaining of the trades, and that just kept putting me in a hole. And at one point I was down 600, and then I managed to take a couple of the trades, and things worked out, and took some scary trade, took some risky stuff, but managed to close only down 240. As soon as I saw that number, it was low enough to me. I was like, what, screw it, I'm gonna throw in the towel today, come back with a fresh head, and then tomorrow, and basically get back on the green side. My next trade, VTGN, I got in at 252, which was basically the 5-minute setup on that. So right here, VTGN, I got it on the 5-minute setup, thinking that this stock could potentially run as well. Because the pre-market, yesterday's high was 265, it tapped it, and then it got rejected there, came back. And let me just pull a 5-minute, just because that was the setup I went in on. So right over here, the stock drops. I get in at 250. Thinking it'll run. The first 5-minute candle basically gets over 250. I jump in thinking it'll get back over to this 265. Potential break of high of day, could keep running. That would be that break of yesterday's previous candle as well. And it just got rejected there. So I ended up selling my 2,000 shares at 244. Lost another 150 or 140 some dollars there. Let's just see what the exact number was. 120. So I lost 120 on that. And now I'm kind of down more. Then DPW comes up. DPW, I was watching it as well off of my watch list. It was a stock that I made money on yesterday. So I, naturally had it on my watch list. It's just that it had a very bad ending yesterday. It dropped a lot. So because of that, it wasn't one of my go-to watches. So I was just kind of keeping it on a watch just to see what it does. And this stock, it was kind of curling up here. The pre-market high and the high of day was 395. as it was curling up, I thought it would break it. I jumped in at 390 with 3,000 shares, I think it was. Yeah, I took a big position on that, just because I felt like if it broke it, it'll break 4. People will start covering. Maybe I can sell in the 410s. That was my goal with that. So I jumped in with 2,000 shares as well at 390, and then I ended up selling at 388. Losing another $60 on that. Now I was down another 60 on that. Then next thing I see on my charts, or I believe somebody mentioned it on Twitter, was MYO. MYO was moving now, and I decided to jump in MYO at 335, and then I sold at 330, and this was with 3,000 shares. So as you guys can see, my thing was increasing by each trade. I was trying to go bigger in size, right? And this trade happened at right over here on this candle, 335, just around here, right here. That's where I jumped in on this, as it was basically curling up, thinking that we're gonna get a move back up to the high of day, which was 359, and then I jump in at 335 with 3,000 shares. It goes over to 340, and then this candle basically drops. So I ended up stopping out at 330, I think it was. Let's see where I sold. I got out at 330, yeah. And so that was 3,000 shares, losing another, on MYO, I lost another $150, 5 cents per 1,000 shares. So, $50 per 1,000 shares, 350 or $150. And, it wasn't pretty. At this time, I'm down, almost $600, losing on every trade I took. And then I took DPW for the second time, and this time I took it at, once it was basically broke 395. That's when I jumped in on this. Right over here, as soon as it broke this let me just show you guys. As soon as it broke this 4, I tried jumping. I should have jumped in at 395.96, but it popped really quick. So I basically just pressed hotkey, jumped in at 4 with 3,000 shares, I believe it was. 3,000 shares, and then I sold at 405. So I made 150 on that, and it's things like that kind of, or maybe I made more on that. I got in at 3, I got in at 4, and I sold at 405. So yeah, 150 is what I would have made on that. So I'm up 110 on the name. I don't know, maybe I'm doing my math wrong, but yeah, I'm up 110 on that name, and that's because I was down first, and then I made the 5 cents on the 3,000 shares just in this basically candle here, and I just quickly sold as soon as it got over, and I kind of noticed that it wasn't moving past 408. At that time it wasn't moving past 408. I basically just sold, and then it did hit 409, but I'm not upset about selling that right then and there, basically. And then the last trade was LMFA. LMFA basically popped up. I saw it on Twitter. Somebody mentioned it, came up on scans. So I was kind of watching it, and then it got halted right around here somewhere. Let's see. It got halted right here, I believe it was. Sorry, let me just move this down. Right here, I believe it was 476. No, right here, 482. 482 where it got halted, right at 11. And then it opened at 1105. I jumped in at 483 with 3,000 shares. I jumped in at 483. And as soon as I jumped in, the stock dropped down to the 440s, and that was scary because I have 3,000 shares. I'm in at 480. I'm down 40 cents now, and as soon as it dropped, I saw it like pop right back up. So I was kind of like, okay, wait, it just came out of the halt. I think people are trying to sell, and then more people are trying to buy. So let me give it some time. I gave it a couple minutes, and then basically hung around there, and then as soon as this candle went green, meaning it went above 482 where it opened. It opened at 484, sorry. As soon as it went above 484, it went green, and then volume started coming in, so it started moving. It got to like 502, and then pulled back. As soon as it pulled back, I basically just hit my sell. I got out on the ask. I think it was 493, just because I didn't want this stock to do what it just did here. I didn't want it to drop back to 470, 460, and now I'm getting out with 20-cent loss. So I just locked in. I was like, screw it, I'm going in for that 10-cent, taking that scalp and moving out. So I sold, made 300, and then I came back up to that 240, level. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, you know what, this number looks better to me than what my account did 5 minutes ago or 6 minutes ago. So let me just get rid of this. Let me just sell it. And then I just threw in the towel and I said, that's it for me today, guys. No more trading. So today's lesson, what I learned from today is overtrading kills. Overtrading, starting your day off on the wrong foot and then just keep hammering the same foot. And that's what I did today. I took a wrong trade, or not a wrong trade, but I broke a rule. Basically, essentially what I did is I broke a rule. I added to a losing position, which in turn made my loss bigger, which in turn made it harder to crawl out of the hole, which in turn made me take big sizes, which in turn every loss got multiplied by 2,000 or 2x or 3x or whatever you want to call it, and next thing you know, I'm down 600, and then now I'm trying to climb back up and just taking whatever I see moving, trying to jump in, trying to make that back. And that's exactly what happens with trading, guys. Not men, I guess I shouldn't say, that's sexist, my bad. Human in general are very maybe it's not, maybe men are, men, we don't have that control. We're more impulsive, I feel like, in some things, especially trading. You're seeing numbers all day, you're seeing things move, you see stocks go from $2 to $8 in a day. It drives you insane. So when you're down, you're just looking for anything to move so you can make your money back. That's all you see at that time. Once you see red, you just want to attack, and you just want to attack everything. And that's exactly what happened to me today. And you know what, I'm fortunate enough that I realized that, and I'm fortunate enough that I'm doing it on a paper trading practice account where I'm not risking any real money, in a safe environment. I'm learning, I'm working on my strategies, and I'm understanding these things, because sooner or later these things will become more embedded in my brain, where I won't take trades like that. I won't do the things I'm doing here. I won't add, and I guarantee, maybe, from now on, what I've noticed in my paper trading account, the reason I managed to, go from my profit loss looking like this in October when I started my paper trading account, in November, where it's much cleaner, much consistent, to December, where, so far I've only had one red day. So my goal obviously now is, moving forward, what I'm learning from past, or what I learned in October, I brought it to November. Now what I learned in November, I brought it to December, and now what I learned today, I want to take it in tomorrow, and then for rest of the month, and for rest of the year, and and rest of the next year, and so on. So these are just lessons, these are just learning points for me. Although yes, I'm down, I go up, I'm kind of still hanging around that 2,500 mark in total profit since October in my paper trading account, but I'm learning, I'm adding, I went down. I wasn't just, because I started the account with 25,000 fake money, and I brought it up to 27,500. But before I did that, I also went down to like 23,000 or 22,000, and I managed to come back up. And then I went down again in November with this big loss here of 39.20, and then I managed to come back out of that. Now this is just, I took five steps forward, and I took one step back, and that one step is smaller than the 5 big steps I took, because if you look here, this week right here I was up 300, and then add this extra 160. So last week I was up about 460. This week I'm already up about 735. So close to my weekly goal on this. And that's what I'm focusing on. I'm looking at these things, these monthly goals, these weekly goals, and I'm just kind of like, okay, well, how can I, improve my strategies? How can I get better at it? What can I do differently than I did yesterday? And, I'm sure down the line I'll make these mistakes again one day or another. Every trader does. Because if, people didn't, then once they learn these, they will just never lose money, right? But everybody loses money in this game, and everybody makes money, or I shouldn't say that. Not everybody makes money, but everybody definitely loses money in this game. So I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel bad about losing money. What I want to do from these losses is carry them forward to the rest of my trading career, and understand that, hey, sometimes it might be okay to add to a position as it's kind of curling down, but more likely than not, it's probably not okay to add to a losing position. And that's how it started today, right? If I didn't add to my position, I would have only been down, instead of being down 240, I would have been down, 120. And that would not have been a big deal. I would have been like, 120, that's fine. I can still take a 1,000 share position on some other stock and get out of this hole. Whereas on 260, I felt like I had to go into the next stock with at least 2,000 shares. And then being down more, I felt like I had to go in with 3,000 shares, and I had to stay at that 3,000 share level until I can make some money back. Just because I knew that in order to make my money back, I had to go in for scalps. And in order to scalp, I have to go in a big position, just so, 5 cents gives me more money than if I only went with 1,000 shares. So, all this crazy stuff goes through your head when you're trading. And in hindsight, when markets are closed, you're more calm. You can kind of maneuver and see what you did right, what you did wrong, and that's why I make these videos. Even if you guys don't find any value in them, I like making these videos just because I get to talk to myself, I get to hear myself, I get to watch this sometime down the road, and and see how far I've come, and what mistakes I'm still making that I did 6 months ago or so on. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll link the previous video in description. I gotta do this so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll link the previous, there you go, I'll link the previous video in the description, so definitely check it out. And I got my Twitter down there, I got my Instagram. Give me a follow, reach out to me. Let's connect if you guys kind of do like watching my videos, and maybe you guys can give me some feedback in the comment section. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe, guys, because I am now trying to post daily, and just trying to help out everybody, and also help myself, and just document my whole journey here. That's exactly what's happening. And you know what, it's been a great journey, guys. I love it. I'm seeing the difference in I started trading about 2 years ago, and I'm seeing the difference from then to now. It's ridiculously crazy what and those 2 years wasn't even my full focus on trading, right? It was just part-time on and off trading, learning different things. And now I'm kind of more serious about it, because I do want to eventually do this full time, and I do want to eventually have a bigger account that I'm trading live rather than the paper trading and so on. So I'm just taking this time to let it all soak in, be a sponge, and just take it all in, and then be ready when I do go live, because that's going to be the real test. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow, last day of the week. It should be good. It's Friday. Usually make money on Friday, so we'll make some money. Take care, guys.